On Saturday the 13th of March, the Clapham Common bandstand hosted a silent vigil for a woman murdered in the area. This is a detailed account of what happened on the night of the vigil, and who exactly is responsible for inciting it into a protest against the police. Just like it took almost the whole crowd to do a Mexican wave for these kids, and it was triggered by one of them speaking about the idea first.
How do they normally start a Mexican wave? By telling everyone. You tell them. We'll just whisper to them. Hey, do the Mexican wave. If you do it, then I'll ask someone else. If you do it, then I'll shout it out, yeah? No, because then it's not. Hey guys, we're going to be doing the Mexican wave, yeah? We're going to get 83,000 people to do it. Just after this free kick, yeah? So, you know, I'm not sure what team is going to be doing the Mexican wave.
That way, okay. 3, 2, 1. Hey! Right, and again, so far.
3, 2, 1!
Yay! It's going. Oh, look!
In the same way on Clapham Common, it only took one puppet on a string.
You are a puppet on the string. With the regurgitated information that was given to you, you haven't got a mind of your own. Leave us the fuck alone, and let us fucking respect the woman.
To set the escalating chaos in motion on a trip round the bandstand.
Guys, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. It's going to come back to us.
Yeah!
Here it comes. Here it comes. Coming back. Here it comes. Here it comes.
This video will show you the catalyst.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Dr. Heiko Khoo addressing the crowd.
I would like to make a short speech for a very simple reason. When this event was called, it was initially called as a silent vigil. But the police and the courts banned us from protesting against. And how and why was he able to? How and why? It was because he pulled her over in the name of coronavirus legislation.
The refusal to reason.
I'm just as ashamed as anybody that that's a police officer. However, this is no longer a vigil, it's an unlawful gathering.
The incitement.
Oh my god.
Are we gonna live and go home? Are you sure? Then the police go home. They're not. Go home. Go home. I'm coming.
An army of police is now behind us.
Police go home! Police go home! Police go home! Police go home! Police go home!
The promotion of their far-right rally.
I've been dragged 5-6 times by the police during the COVID recently. I've been speaking in this corner for 35 years. This corner.
The police! The police! Leave him alone! Leave him alone!
As wide as you can.
There is a protest already planned in Standoffs. We all must join that protest. Not Saturday to protest the man against these bad things. And inside,
The violence
Sit down in the road. People sitting down.
When you look closely at all the people in this scene, it's all the familiar faces from the evening so far. Steve, the Mafia, Heiko's handler, and dozens more. It's beyond clear that they all seem to be working together with a single aim: provoke a reaction from the police in order to take advantage of all the chaos, and it looks like they pulled it off perfectly.
Please do show us. So what?
They're attacking women.
Attacking
women.
picking on women. Thank you. But the crowd is not happy. Sorry about that, I just tripped over it. Just been pushed on the face.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
And we're going round.
The far-right solutions after all the chaos.
I mean, I've not met him personally. I think he's a bit of an idiot myself. But I mean, go and check him out, guys.
And then
I'm only kidding.
who else do we listen to?
Subject Access, is it Busker people? But yeah, just independent media.
Go to BitChute, brand new.
That's it.
UK column news.
Believe in their conspiracies.
Operation Lockstep.
Soros.
Agenda 21, United
Agenda 21,
Nations,
ID 21.
Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the Great Banksters, all these people.
Sign up to their charities.
And follow Stand Up X if you're concerned about what's occurring right now in the world and you're tired of the abolitions of your freedoms.
Join their protests on March the 20th.
Oh, and then the 20th of March, Central London. And that will be the biggest march so far.
And vote for their joke politicians.
And who are you going to be voting for the mayoral elections?
Here's Corbyn.
Here's Corbyn, David Kern, I think.
Yeah, David Kern.
Here's Corbyn, David Kern.
And the figureheads responsible for the attempt at accelerating a silent vigil into a violent protest.
Right, guys.
I took time off work to make sure this video was made swiftly, so if you appreciate the work that I put in and would like me to be able to do more of it, please feel free to show your appreciation following the links below. But in the meantime, fascists, beware of the anti-lockdown narcissists. The silent vigil started off largely as it should have, silently, albeit with the odd attention seekers making dick jokes to each other.
Yeah, he showed me Tyrant. I don't know if he's fixed it. Tyrant saying you can't spell.
Yeah, no, it was autocorrect.
He said he's dyslexic. I don't know if you heard that.
Dyslexic.
They're completely unaware of the people laying flowers and grieving right in front of their eyes. This paired two walk-in CCTV people from the Access Media Collective. The one behind the camera lost his job during lockdown and found himself earning money sharing his soul to his new internet friends on his channel called Actual Interview. The other guy, called Sam English, has a slightly more successful YouTube channel called Subject Access, which at first glance seems slightly more serious when it comes to reporting on actual events, despite his dodgy press pass.
Enforcing fraud, understand that. COVID is not real. You are participating in fraud. Crimes against humanity. Crimes against humanity. You're all enforcing a fraud.
Are you part of the press?
BBC, Bangkok are all enforcing a criminal act. You're all...
It's not recognised.
But with all involved with the Access Media label, they take great value in being able to deceive their audience in as many ways as possible. As you can see, the mourners around aren't too happy with the noise these two are making as they flirt with their audience.
Sam, all the ladies just keep saying your name. You have to say hello to them. It's Divine.
Hello ladies, how you
Lisa.
doing? I'll be going live soon, about 5 o'clock. See you later.
Tyrant as well.
No Tyrant.
He's
how you
feeling
doing,
left out. Yeah.
We can hear them joke with one of their colleagues in the chat. He runs a YouTube channel called Tyrant Finder, a fellow walking CCTV guy who made a bit of a name for himself when he went to Dover to chase refugees on the beaches.
We have a beach landing, potentially, just out there. I don't know if you can see it, that little dot. Migrant boat. Rowers. We've got rowers today, people.
Tyrant Finder, or otherwise known as Chris Batt, he's been quite influential in how the Bristol protests were reported. Behind Subject Access, we see two of his spotters, Steve from Speaker's Corner and his mate, Andy. They have been lifelong Tommy Robinson associates, seen here with him on his sponsored walk 8 years ago. And here they both are, at a Tommy Robinson rally, not opposing the fascist, but instead spotting for the wee hooligan and reporting back with their findings on the counter-protesters. Steve and his little mate, who has definite links to neo-reactionary Ralph Massalamani, as seen here. This pair have the exact same anti-left spotter relationship with Subject Access.
Sam? Good on you? Just a quick stop. Quick stop, right?
There's a little group of anti.
Come over this way.
Orange Hood.
What do you think it's about?
Again, look at the weird glances from those he's filming and invading their space. This is bordering on harassment of a clearly non-threatening group of women by an old group of single men. Subject Access decides to follow this mysterious orange-hatted guy all the way to Trafalgar Square, where he makes sure to get a good shot of his face.
I might try and find some other people.
Seems to be splitting.
You didn't say no? Right, okay then.
I said, are we out of the room? And he laughed. To the police. He didn't say no.
You see here that filming the demonstration for women's rights is his secondary goal. The point is, if these guys are here to oppose these women's rights protesters, what were they doing at a silent vigil for a murdered woman the previous day?
You see this person, he just keeps coming in all my stuff. Like you have a whole thing, he'll be around, but he has to come next to me.
Also involved in inciting the chaos at Clapham Common is disgraced Tory councillor William Coleshill. He runs a channel called Resistance GB on the Access Media label, and stood next to him is his girlfriend assistant and camerawoman. It's interesting that Coleshill decided to turn up to the event, considering his history with harassing women. Access Media is a ragtag group of in-real-life trolls in which their main mission objective is to discredit grassroots left-wing movements by any means possible, while at the same time promoting the far right and more recently the anti-lockdown and COVID conspiracy movements. They follow around narky characters like the Heritage Party leader and current London Assembly member David Curtin, Speaker's Corner regular Heiko Khoo, and conspiracy theorist Piers Corbyn, who spread their anti-lockdown agenda while staging a wide variety of publicity stunts.
Whilst exercise not involved, please keep back. We are trying to enforce COVID guidelines and we need to get another.
It has to be known that every one of these individuals would or should have been on the police radar, since they've been front and centre of the promotion of the almost weekly anti-lockdown marches, with many of them already being arrested multiple times for purposefully breaking COVID regulations.
In the Second World War, the last of those veterans are slaves in their own homes, locked up by their own government. Long live the Magna Carta!
So back to the event, we are watching from the perspective of a guy called Actual Interview, who's found a way to survive the lockdown by allowing the far right to stroke his ego. Case in point, Tommy Robinson cultist, based Welshman.
Lister!
Alright,
Lister!
How are you doing, buddy?
How are you doing, you left?
Bad?
Lister! Lister! Get the fucking go. Lister! Lister!
I'm not.
Lister! Lister! See you later. Lister! You're a bit up north. You're a bit up north and you missed out. You're a bit up north and you missed out. You're a bit up north and you missed out. Leave it. You're a bit up north and you...
Try and see that phone.
Don't, because you're going to go in trouble, alright?
No.
Jump off that way.
What do you say?
I said, did you see that guy try and steal my phone?
Jump off that
Mate, I've said no.
Come this way, mate.
Why are you trying to be all hard in front of your mates?
Real name Hugh Thorne is in the chat working on just that.
And in the morning I was notified that the event was cancelled because apparently they contacted the police telling them what they're about to do, and the police said they can't do it and they're banned from doing it, so they gave up and they said it's cancelled, but people have arrived anyway. I did hear about other women's groups claiming they'll be here. I haven't really noticed them, well, they might be here already. But again, this is scheduled for 6 o'clock, so it's early days.
Due to the organisation not being allowed by the police to organise the vigil, in which the local community would have obviously taken part in regardless of the law, due to the media coverage surrounding it, we will see how that power vacuum led to the spark that triggered this vigil into a chaotic and sometimes violent protest.
It sounds good. Should I join the club? Why not?
Out of nowhere, like cartoon villains, Piers Corbyn and his little handler show their faces.
There is this is Mr. Corbyn.
You interviewing people or just?
I haven't interviewed anyone as yet. I mean, people are.
They're just here being silent.
They are quite somber. And
Yeah.
I don't really want to intrude, but I think there are.
I think that's right.
I don't want to do it.
Where's Rosie anyway? Is he?
He went round the corner looking for you, but this
We'll
is.
walk round and come back and see you.
No. Right.
Actual Interview takes Piers' suggestion on board, getting many dirty looks of intrusion in the process.
So I think Piers was planning to give a speech here, possibly, and then somewhere else. I don't think. I mean, I've spoken to a few people. They don't want to do any talk. Jokes at them. Hello guys, would you like to say a few words on my channel? Yeah, good? Thank you. Nobody wants to talk to me. Not these guys. Yeah, these females. Hello, hi. Would you like to say a few words on my channel?
I think no, thank you.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you.
Well, it's not like the other protests I've been to. People are there for a reason, to get something off their mind. And at the moment, it appears they only want to speak to the mainstream press.
He gets rejected for the second time in quick succession, then describes the silent vigil as a protest. A mischaracterization that I'm guessing he's picked up from the psychos that are manipulating and stroking his ego from above. Notice how he claims people aren't here for a reason like other protests. They are here for a reason. To remember and grieve for a murdered woman named Sarah Everard. When actual interview finds himself on the bandstand with the others, he is directed once again, this time by based Welshmen, in order to get a different view from the rest of the walking CCTVs, which is quite handy for what is about to erupt.
Based, I'm going to do that. Thank you. Yeah, I'll walk around based. I just stay away from the police.
We're now going to swap views to Resistance GB, who is still in the bandstand stood next to fellow Access Media collaborator Heiko Khoo. Let me just give you a proper introduction to the man about to speak. This is Heiko Khoo, also on the Access Media label, with his self-titled YouTube channel. A lifelong Marxist, you might hear him mention once or twice about how long he's been speaking at Speaker's Corner. With the lockdown restrictions being the main reason Heiko is now unable to garner that same regular attention that he craves, he was forced to seek that attention from elsewhere, and the far right have gladly filled that gap. It would not have been that difficult at all to push Heiko's buttons, in order to provoke him into speaking first at the vigil. He doesn't seem to be having a fun time of late. He's been arrested multiple times for breaking the lockdown regulations. However, one of his arrests came at Speaker's Corner on the same day Tommy Robinson visited. He was apparently pulled from his ladder by a Tommy fan, which led to his own unfair arrest. Interestingly, I heard he was next door to Tommy Robinson in the police jail cells, as I lost count of the number of Tommy fans who thought it was me arrested that day. All scruffy lefties look the same, right? One last thing, Heiko is the kind of guy who would strip naked to avoid taking a probable eviction letter from his already disgruntled landlord while filming it for the attention kick.
Well, I am... Go on. Right, I'm naked, right? Am I naked? Are you staring at me naked? Yes?
Very nice, sir. Thank you.
Right, why did you do that then? Why did you do that?
Well, I'm clearly not going to cross the threshold of your unit.
Well, then put the bloody letter at the door and fuck off!
Language.
Who the fuck do you think you are? Who the fuck do you think you are?
There's no need to abuse me verbally.
You've just burst in on me naked, right? Right? Letter out of the door. Leave.
Okay, well, just put a letter then. See you later.
Shut the freaking door. Fucking idiots.
He released this video the day after the vigil. Anyway, after a little over an hour into the vigil, Heiko decides to break the silence by addressing the crowd. This seems to have been pre-planned, judging by Colehill's announcement of the speech.
And now the stream appears to be approaching a torrent. A torrent of people flooding in. I believe there might be an address.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Dr. Heiko Khoo addressing the crowd.
I would like to make a short speech for a very simple reason. When this event was called, it was initially called as a silent vigil. But the police and the courts banned us from protesting against. And how and why was he able to? How and why? It was because he pulled her over in the name of coronavirus legislation.
Shut up! We must be free to move, to visit friends, to be on the streets, and to protect ourselves and others. This is not, as attention has said, a conflict between men and women. It is a conflict between all of us and the state apparatus, which has imposed a dictatorship over all of us.
Thank you very much. I'll send my one of you.
And feminists in the crowd chanting, "Not your place." I believe feminists. Signif.
These are the guys who need to ask what they've been doing. Why aren't you on your knees? Why aren't you on your knees about your officers arresting, attacking, violently and brutally attacking women all over the country, men all over the country in the name of Corona? Look me in the eyes and tell me you have not broken the rules. Look me in the eyes and tell me you have not broken the rules. Because if you tell me you haven't, you're a liar. They're all lying. They're trying to make us all into liars. Every one of you has broken the rules. Sarah was breaking the rules that night. She was right to be bold, to make peace, to be honest, and to fight for all of our rights to freedom. You think the police are
Police moving in.
Back. Don't you arresting me, right? I've had enough of that stuff. You brutalised that girl in foot 2 weeks ago. Dragged her and ripped her arms out. Put this feet in her shoulder. What that about? Nicholas Scholes, you attacked the speaker's corner. Dragged him away and then I believe he was sectioned after that. Another man in Scotland you brutalised.
Can you let him leave, please? Thank you.
Not to touch you. I'm glad you're here breaking the rules. Come on. Even if you disagree with me, I don't care. Good. And it's their place, is it? Is it their place? Please, can you leave now? Is this their place? We've asked you nicely. I'm leaving. Thank you very much. Is this their place? Is this place? Is this their place? Look, why aren't they on their knees? Come on. Why aren't they on their knees? Why are the police not on their knees? Not me. I'm the everyone. One of
in the name of coronavirus. Excuse me, madam, what are you doing on the street? What are you doing on the street? Get into the car. I've got a gun. Take her, murderer, rape her, burn her body, and then they want to arrest me. Leave me alone. No, leave him, leave him. Leave him. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Thank you very much. Leave him. Leave him. Leave him.
Notice how this first attempt to escalate the silent vigil into a protest backfired massively. The crowd turned against Heiko instantly as they make it clear it's not his place to open his mouth. It's certainly not his place to start victim-blaming Sarah for allegedly breaking lockdown rules. Heiko, as a supposed approved journalist and doctor, even commits contempt of court when he forgets to say the word allegedly before his accusation against the charged police officer. I had to cut that bit out. Also notice how the police don't lay a finger on Heiko and simply allow him to walk off freely. He's hugged by Resistance GB's assistant camerawoman, and he's followed by a concerned man who acts like his handler, a guy who is regularly involved in further inciting the crowd against the police at various anti-lockdown protests. A random guy tries to talk some sense into the group, while Heiko's handler stares uncomfortably into the camera. Wilsey decides to give Heiko a break and searches for a friendly anti-feminist face to squeeze some propaganda out of, while he gives his spin on the police response to Heiko's deranged outburst.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're wondering what was going to happen. Something has happened, but we can see that the police have been given their instructions for the day not to touch anyone here, and it can be confirmed more or less from their actions that the police are employing two-tier policing.
This next woman appearing on screen, I've spoken to personally a few times while out on protests. She always comes across as a neutral photographer, but after hearing her talk on camera for the first time, she clearly has the same agenda as William Coleshill. They even greet each other with the familiar, "Good to see you again."
Can I ask you about what's brought you down here today, if that's okay?
Yeah, I've come to see the Vigil and Secret Touch in Anonymous. So I'm glad I came down because it was not given permission. Yeah.
And what do you think? Obviously, there are accusations that it's a police officer who murdered Sarah. If that were to be true, what do you think that would say about the Metropolitan Police?
Well, I think someone like you is more at risk of being assaulted and murdered than a woman. I think you're far more at risk. Statistics show that. And I don't think the profession really matters. In all professions, there's always one who's got problems or difficulties. So males, is it about 16 to 25? More at risk of getting murdered. Yeah.
What do you think about this whole, male curfew and turning this into an attack on men by Jenny Jones and Mark Drakeford and a lot of far left sort of communists?
I think it's an interesting gesture, but it's totally unworkable and impractical. It doesn't do any good.
And this next clip is an example of why the walking CCTVs had to use stooges for their interviews. Simply normal people saw right through their ignorant and intrusive agenda.
And only now. You're wearing masks.
Doesn't matter. Go away. We're breathing. Go away.
Excuse me.
No.
Could you have some manners, please? People would like to see what's going on as well, not just you.
People come down here. People are breathing. We didn't ask for. We didn't consent to this.
Not everyone lives in London.
A woman tries to take control of the centre stage and mentions something to do with the sound system. Heiko's handler heads towards the bandstand, and look who turns up again, this time with an extra person pulling their sound system. Piers inquires about Heiko, who must have heard about his speech.
Where's Heiko?
Last time I saw he was on the other side, I don't know where he is.
I can't make out what they're singing, what they're saying.
And as they try to make their way to the stage with their amp, it sounds as though a group of women from the collective Sisters Uncut tried to take control of the centre stage for some calming speeches. I imagine this was done in order to try to prevent another unwanted and tone-deaf outburst like Heiko's. The crowd seemed to be much more receptive to this kind of engagement, but as it gets darker and the bandstand more crowded, the conditions for chaos manufacturers begin to ripen. Notice how Actual Interview walks away from the side of the bandstand where Sisters Uncut are, and instead into the odd splinters of incoherent chants coming from the crowd that are more recognisable from a far-right rally or anti-lockdown protest. People start shouting, "Shame on you," for seemingly no reason, and at nobody in particular. The police haven't even entered the bandstand yet. And as our walking CCTV camera pans round, we see at least one recognisable character, Speaker's Corner regular Hatun Tash, who seems conscious of being on camera and so instinctively pulls up her mask. It's fairly obvious that this section of the crowd is largely made up of anti-lockdown infiltrators. Sisters Uncut managed to regain control of the crowd again. Still, no police have moved into the bandstand yet, and although it's no longer a silent vigil, it still seems quiet and respectful, unlike earlier. However, as soon as the first two police liaison officers enter the bandstand from the anti-lockdown side, the atmosphere changes in an instant, and you hear a large section of the crowd boo and hiss. No one allows the liaison officers to talk to anyone, and it's at this point for the anti-lockdown protesters that their mission was completed. It was practically done as soon as Heiko opened his mouth, much like the boys at the start of the video. The idea was told and spread. With the bandstand now full of anti-lockdown protesters and a few feminist activists who are probably bewildered at the sudden escalation, the addition of a third side, the police, is only going to accelerate the chaos further.
Oh, it's you. Yeah, move your fucking hand. How you doing?
We appreciate how everybody wants to pay their respects, but this is not what we want to.
The course of action is from your side?
We're advising people of the COVID regulation.
Okay.
Which asking people to social distance and comply with the law.
It's been going on for like 3-4 hours.
Why haven't you done anything before? It's not a question for me, sir. Okay. All right.
As the first set of police officers enter the bandstand, the woman, acting like the mafia holding them back, is now flanked by COVID conspiracy theorist Fiona Hine in the white jacket.
Encourage people to go home.
How dare you tell us we should be here?
No, I never said that. I said I wouldn't need to be here if you'd encourage people to go home. anybody that's a police officer. However, this is no longer a vigil, it's an unlawful gathering.
She's been arrested 4 times on anti-lockdown protests alongside Piers Corbyn, which makes me believe the woman acting like the mafia is this woman seen here out with the gang.
Have a look. Oh look, there's 2 here.
As the pandemonium intensifies, look who seems so desperate to get in on the action that she jumps the metal fence. The photo opportunity herself, Patsy Stevenson. Patsy eventually jumps down into position, and while women begin to stream into the bandstand, Patsy seems to have a strategy meeting with the mafia. Underneath all the chaos, Heiko has snuck back into where he was once evicted, this time wielding a megaphone. You can hear him start chanting in the background. It becomes obvious that the mafia's only goal is to prevent the police reaching those inciting the crowds. I apologise for this broken footage, but it is essential for context.
There's a fucking Unlawful gathering, you go by the murderer. Unlawful gathering. Police murdering. Nobody is socially distanced. Police murdering.
Dr. Heiko Khoo.
The police officer says that you're not behaving properly. What do you say?
This time to rapture support. Crowd now siding with Dr. Khoo.
No justice, no peace. Fuck the police. 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 No justice, no peace. Fuck the police.
Of tribulations.
So I ask you this, do we now have the right to demonstrate? Yes! Can they stop us demonstrating? No! Can they stop women walking on the street? No! Can they stop us visiting our friends and family? No! Down with the dictatorship! 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 Off my sister head! Mister! Get your hands off my sister head! Mister! Get your hands off my sister head! Mister! Get your hands off my sister head!
Heiko Khoo saying they don't have the numbers here to enforce and that they cannot arrest us all. Dr. Heiko Khoo, long-standing journalist and political campaigner. Something going on the other side. Police have seized the sound system. I'm not sure if you can see it there. They're taking control of the sound system.
And as you can see, now there's not that many people in the bandstand left, apart from the police and a few rabble-rousers on the outskirts. No one has yet been arrested, and the police have mostly been trying to talk to people, advising them to leave.
I apologise for the buffering. Many people are streaming right now. We've got loads of feeds coming through, so you might have a bit of hassle. A lot of people though in the crowd have put away their phones again. So hopefully, should be a little bit easier on us.
I feel safe, and so does every single woman that's here.
Heiko Khoo in place now.
Every one of us. Fuck the police! Because you are a gangster, you're not with us! And you find that you are not the fight! You are not here to serve us! You're here to serve your bank account! You're literally no good! You're no good! You're not with us, you are a gangster! You go home! 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 You're literally puppets! You're puppets on the string! You don't have minds of your own! Think for yourself! Think for yourself and serve the people with a pure heart! You don't serve us with pure intentions!
Police now stand off against a section of anti-lockdown protesters in the crowd, who are stood in front of their pathological figureheads as they continue to inflame and increase the tension.
This is an unlawful gathering. We're asking you to leave. Why doesn't he leave? Why don't the police leave? Why don't they look after the people instead of having one of them? We've had enough of your petty rules. We've had enough of your petty impositions. We've had enough of your ridiculous imposition of control over everybody's movements. Fuck that. You haven't socially distanced from day one. Coppers, what are you talking about?
Steve manoeuvres himself into a front row position.
I'm glad. But is he ashamed of what he's doing now? About trying to stop us from protesting the murder? The public health emergency is that you want to do walking down the street here. And it's not safe for women to walk down the street. That's the public health emergency we're here to protest. No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice!
While Patsy rallies the crowd with the chant "Police go home."
Police go home! 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 Police go home!
Standing next to me.
you are a puppet on the street. With the regurgitated information that was given to you, you haven't got a mind of your own. Leave us the fuck alone. And let us fucking respect the woman. Let us alone, people. Leave us alone.
An army of police is now behind us.
Police go home! 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 Leave her alone! 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 They're pushing people in my house.
Heiko jumps down into the bed of flowers in order to share the megaphone with his friend from Speaker's Corner, who has an important announcement to make.
I just jumped down because they look like a ton of grapple. I've been grabbed 5-6 times by the police during the COVID recently. I've been speaking at Speaker's Corner for 35 years. Speaker's Corner.
As wide as you can.
There is a protest already planned in Standoffs. We all must join that protest. Not silence the communist demand against these Nazis and inside Margaret Minders. Come out and stop the days. Let's get them out. They have central elected on the 20th of March.
Okay, PLC just pull back now. We need to rescue you. Thank you.
The police are preventing us from actually leaving. I can't get off this podium. They're in my way. I'm trying to get out and I can't get out.
Just the feet, just a little bit.
Now, I'm not sure if this woman is a genuine member of Sisters Uncut or another stooge, but now that the arrests are extremely likely, the anti-lockdown protesters seem to be allowing Sisters Uncut to take the blame regardless, while they position their favoured personnel for the photo opportunities.
More footage will come up in the next few days. PLC on me, apparently. Thank you.
You're going to have to negotiate with these people.
You're blocking the exit.
You're blocking the exit, madam. Come on, really.
You're blocking the fucking exit, you do. Giving them the last warning, didn't want to be caught up in that. So they'll be growing them pretty soon.
Notice the woman with the one on her jumper. She's been hanging around Steve all evening, and now all of a sudden, front and centre. And when the camera pans round, it seems they're the only 4 people left on the bandstand.
I had 100 when it went down. Last time I was at Clapham, right over the field.
Please share this as far and wide as you can, please. The police now appear to be under siege on the podium. They are surrounded on all sides by a hostile crowd.
These hooded people standing off with the police are stooge anti-fascists who will crop up again later.
Some portion of the crowd appears to be heading off, but much of it remains, I would say. Much of the crowd remains. I'd say about 75% of numbers still remain. And now the police, I think they're about to make their final move in. They've given what they said was the last warning, and I believe they're about to move in. War reporter mode, man. BBC's not doing reports like me.
Leave us alone! 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 Leave us alone!
And now they're trying to grab them. They're trying to grab the girls.
David, they're grabbing her.
They're grabbing them. Police continue to be fairly besieged on the podium. It seems the tables have turned. Their illegal practice of kettling has been turned on the Metropolitan Police.
They push most people out.
Please share this as widely as you can, thank you. More footage from the GoPro, higher quality, will be out in the next few days. How many more the crowd is chanting? The police have all grabbed them in short order, I'm assured of it. They've been given what the police say is a last warning, and they've tried grabbing onto them. These few girls seem to be the last people on the podium. All of the journalists have been chased off. Everyone else has been chased off. And you can see a policeman just there in the left of the shot gesturing to them. This looks like it's it. It looks like they might be given. I can see instructions from behind. They're moving in. They are completely surrounded now. On all sides by police, pinned against a railing.
And then, as the arrests take place, we see Fiona Hine try a futile rescue. The headphones guy tries a similar thing. And listen to all those flowers being trampled in the process, while Steve barks like a psychopath from behind the camera.
You guys have no idea!
Oh!
Say you're bloody inspectors! Bloody clowns!
The police are forming a physical barrier!
Now, in the centre of the bandstand behind the line of police officers, Patsy Stevenson was the person to be in the right place at the right time for the photo opportunity that shot her to instant fame and numerous TV appearances, one of which she made this admission.
Then we went onto the bandstand and we were trying to make sure, video things and make sure no manhandling or anything was done. But then...
So I'd love to see her footage of the event, but I suspect we're all watching it already. She was asked on an Instagram Live what she thought about the lockdown regulations and gave an interesting non-answer.
What do you think of the COVID restrictions? I don't have a lot of views that I can talk about that, because otherwise people take it and go, oh, Patsy said this about COVID restrictions, so we're going to protest this or do this and something. So I have to be careful about that.
Now don't get me wrong, I absolutely do not condone these arrests, but people should have been on hand to prevent outbursts such as Heiko's early on. If you don't allow for some organisation, chaos will be inevitable. So I don't really see in what other way this silent vigil could have played out, especially when I witnessed the level of insidiousness of the anti-lockdown narcissists. What were the police really left to do at this stage? The simple fact is, the anti-lockdown protesters would not have stopped escalating until arrests were made.
Here they come!
On the other side of the stand now! They pushed over a girl fell to the floor, pushed by them. And now they are forming a ring.
The police walking these women to the police van are given a much easier time than the arrest coming up, so bear that in mind. Listen to the guy with a familiar voice, off camera, trying to rally the men to stand up, in an attempt to incite the crowd to start fighting back against the police.
Where's all the men? Stand up! Stand up!
The police are now separated into two detachments, cut in half. And now moving again, you can see the girls that they grabbed.
But they managed to get the women to the van with very little fuss.
So many of them for just two women.
Right, it was
we don't think that's right at all. But we're here, we're here to protect people from the COVID virus, right? And that's why we're encouraging and asking people to leave of their own accord. After they've had time to put the guard down, after they've time to be with other people here as well.
Back at the bandstand, we start following Sam at subject access for the first time. He deleted his footage due to the numerous contempt of court breaches from Heiko and other inciters. I managed to catch this 10-minute section before he deleted it though. I imagine his livestream is full of loads more evidence. Sam gets some wind that someone else has been arrested on the other side of the bandstand, and he circles round to seek out the conflict. Keep a close eye on all the characters in this scene. Also, see if you can guess who the guy getting arrested is.
What did he do? What did he do?
When I was watching this live, as soon as I saw Sam zoom into the guy wearing the Antifa hoodie, I knew instantly he was a stooge, and that I should certainly watch this event a lot more closely. And then when I saw Tommy Robinson instantly report Antifa's responsibility for the events on Telegram, I sensed a huge hint of projection. All it took for Tommy to jump to conclusions was a couple of photos and however quick his internet signal was. It's taken me weeks to go through the footage from multiple angles with a fine tooth comb to prove that it was in fact Tommy and his flying monkeys who hijacked the vigil in order to push their own narrative. Instantly recognisable from this footage is Heiko's handler from earlier, as well as the stand-up chanter. And listen out for the promotion of their anti-lockdown protest on the 20th of March.
Stand up, people! Are you okay? Just thumbs up, you're okay. Leave him alone! Leave him alone! Arrest your own! I'm not Mr. Warren Fed. I don't know what he's doing.
That's actually
Take off the mask! These people don't care about you, they don't care about me, they don't care about our society and our nation, they don't care! They don't care!
Get it all on tape! They don't care! Anyone who's got life, stick it on!
Wait, give it time, people can stop that emission. This coronavirus legislation gives them 2 minutes. Business arresting innocent people, freedom of speech, they're trying to get it, they're trying to destroy it. People need to stand up, 20th of May in central London.
You guys are fucking killed us!
That's who you need to go for. Until that happens, we won't have freedom. It'll be gone. Let them
This
go.
is why freedom is
Let them
go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go.
You hold a UK driving licence? You want a voter's check? A whole lot with a bubble. Yeah, go on. I can't see it. Guys, we're moving forward.
Moving out towards us, pushing people, shoving them out of the way. Ruthless behaviour.
Also watch as the fake Antifa run by, directed by Heiko's psycho smiling handler.
Couple of lads have moved in. They're not having it.
You fucking stop
Attempting to push back the police in a violent tug of war. Push the man onto the ground now. One man tumbling onto another man now. We've got people on the ground. So I'm going to be aware of my own footing. We're on the ground now. Another man goes down to the ground.
Remember how easy the walk seemed for the previous arrests? Well, what is so special about this guy who's been arrested now?
The tug of war continues! They've moved in to grab the men! They've moved in to grab them! And more people are moving in to defend them! I'm attempting to move back, there are people in my way! The police appear thwarted in their attempts to grab those men! And the police now continue their march, somewhat less inhibited, over marshy ground, unsure footing.
Excuse me, can't you talk? Shame on you!
As they reach the police van, one of the fake Antifa destroys the wing mirror.
The police have begun a chase, and he escaped, and the crowd is jubilant. He's got away! He's got away! They will not go away in Clapham Common tonight!
Then listen closely for the person with the recognisable voice inciting people to block the police from leaving. It's Steve from Speaker's Corner.
Sit down in the road, people sitting down.
When you look closely at all the people in this scene, it's all the familiar faces from the evening so far. Steve, the Mafia, Heiko's handler, and dozens more. It's beyond clear that they all seem to be working together with a single aim: provoke a reaction from the police in order to take advantage of all the chaos, and it looks like they pulled it off perfectly.
Please do show this!
They're attacking women!
Attacking
women!
They're picking on women! Thank you! Sorry about that, I just tripped over it. Just been pushed from the police.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
And we're going round. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. GB. And it looks like the van's just about to make it out now. Please just share this as far and wide as you can. There they go. Having captured another person for attending a vigil. Here they come, shoving thing. And they don't want to stick around to see the reaction of the crowds.
Attacking women!
More police coming in now. Police are now clustered on the road.
When it all calms down, this Scottish woman, who seems to have been ever so slightly roped into the bread and circus, can be heard pushing back against an anti-lockdown protesters' overreach.
Exactly, and you're a woman like us, and you feel equally afraid. How can you stand there and not say anything? Do you not have anything to say for yourself? Do you not have anything to say? You should be disgraced. Not allowed to say anything. Well, they should. No, I know, they should. They should.
The anti-lockdown protesters bizarrely begin to chase the police back to the bandstand while the supposed independent journalist, Actual Interview, chuckles along.
5, 3, 1, 4! 5, 3, 1, guys!
6, 4, 2 backwards!
Let's go!
Oh look, the fatties have to run! Oh no! Run, fatty! Run, fatty! Run, fatty, run!
As Actual Interview walks back to the bandstand, you can hear all sorts of random chants aimed at the police.
Alright, so the police put someone in the van, now they're running away. Fast as you can, what?
Jesus fucking Christ!
They're tired now. Oh. That was interesting, wasn't it? What's going on now?
Wilsey is approached by a fan who suddenly realises he doesn't want to be placed at the scene.
Over there. You say, man? I was on your live today. Good to see
And
you.
And I saw it, I had to calm down.
Oh, sorry. No, he's not here. He's not here. He was never here. Never saw him.
And then he starts to intrude on all the more private vigils being set up underneath the surrounding trees.
The silent vigil taking place by that tree and other silent vigils that seem to have popped up. This one over here. Away from police. Or maybe, hopefully, they'll remain undisturbed.
Wilsey then goes on to show what the vigil would have looked like if none of the anti-lockdown narcissists showed up.
Crowd seems to be completely uninhibited now. It's shocking. The crowd mingling, talking, forming groups, people again up on the podium, and at last, maybe for a brief spell, able to pay their respects.
Yeah, like if no one could do any police station school because I think they were coordinating that stuff out.
And we'll give you a little perspective from the crowd up here, where there was so much commotion. People now sitting, paying their respects peacefully. You've got a crowd, in some places patchy, in some places thicker.
He hangs with his fellow co-conspirators for a short while.
Again, for any of you watching, please make sure to subscribe to Actual Interview. Really good channel, really good content. Down here, same as me at these sort of protests. Really great interviews on his channel. I'll take your viewers.
What should we give the little guy?
Okay, please could... okay, sorry.
Right guys,
go to Actual Interview.
Thanks for joining today. I'm going to end the live now.
And then he films one of his final interviews where some of the psychopaths behind the chaos we just saw admit that it was staged.
Because I think this, right now, shows what this event can be. Peaceful, respectful, which I think the Metropolitan Police weren't okay with. Hi there, guys. Is it okay if I interview you guys about what's happened?
Who's your man?
What do you think?
I think this is pretty much staged.
So if you don't recognise these people, the one on the left likes to hang with Piers Corbyn and tries more weird minor stunts with paper bags, again provoking the police into escalating nonsense.
Leave her alone! Leave her alone! Stop it!
A business walk with the dogs.
Stand back, please. Stand back, please. Stand back. Move back, please. Move back. Okay, that's it. Please, Sam, I'm asking you, please move back.
Can you please? Please, can you keep back? Can you keep back?
Yeah, because you're going to hit my officers. Put your hands down and calm down. Calm down. Right, calm down now. Don't be so aggressive and don't try and hit the officers. You are. You've been aggressive from the start.
Let's go, please.
They're attempting to make the claim that the police unfairly target women because they say they're weaker. But video evidence suggests that the police target anti-lockdown protesters either indiscriminately or they appear to mostly go for the ringleaders.
What are you doing, bro?
Rush, get us on Twitter!
The guy on the right is called Nacho, a figurehead within the Stand-Up X movement.
Don't let the government lie to you no more, please. Stop letting the government lie to you. Stop putting those bars in your face like oh, please. You need to come together. You need to listen to your brothers and sisters.
It's a Muslim.
And a lot of you people telling us we're crazy, but you're not asking questions. You're not asking any questions. You just read it. You're just wearing a mask because they tell you to wear a mask. Guys, I'm pleading with you guys, please. You don't need to hate us.
Hell on earth.
You don't need to hate us, guys, please.
Hell on earth, mate. Hell on earth.
I'm begging you. You want to buy that thing? Do some research. Please. Do some research.
We are the people. We are the power.
What are we?
We are the people. We are the power. We are the 99%. We are the people.
The guy on the left is the Stand-Up X guy. He was front and centre in the last standoff with the police. Also seen here at the anti-lockdown protest the following week alongside Heiko, repeating his "they don't care about you" speech.
Did the Duchess of Cambridge block lockdown rules by driving 100 miles to the Vigil in Clapham Common?
That fucking camera,
The Duchess of Cambridge break lockdown rules.
You got some easy.
They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about your nan. They don't care.
No, why not?
They don't care. The policing system in this country is not right, people. It's a two-tier society, and you know it.
Cool City!
Don't allow these people to keep dictating to you. We are the people. We are the power. It's time we start standing together as a community. It's time we start bringing the community back to the community. No more we're going to put up with these lockdowns. No more we're going to put up with these rules upon our lives, these mandates. We don't want vaccine passports. We don't want health passports.
And our children
are not plague-rats. They're not fucking plague-rats. Don't put masks on the children. Give them exemption cards. You can download them from the internet. Masks spread disease. If you blow your nose, you're supposed to put in a tissue and throw it away. But if you blow your nose now, you're supposed to keep the fucking thing on your face all day until it's madness. Absolute madness. Can everyone start heading towards the street?
No, not the street. No way.
Not the street. In the park. Stay in the park. Look, they can't grab us here. In the street, they can grab us all.
Let's hold tight,
people. Go anywhere. Go towards the Serpentine. There's lots of ordinary people there. At the Serpentine.
You hear the astute Heiko recognise the bad tactical plan to hit the streets. Heiko wanted the protesters to draw the police out into the fields, where the police would be outnumbered and more vulnerable to attack.
Moving back, get some room to work. Let's start moving back. Let's start moving back.
Get your hand off his neck, you cunt.
Alright, so you need to leave, yeah? Get up.
You let people live like that.
That's a good attacking woman all the time. Look at him. So what? She's a female. She's a female.
guys do? Behave your fucking self. Stand aside.
To the side is no problem. To the side is no problem. To the side. To the side. Here we go.
Oh, Jack, how you doing, mate? All right? Move back, please. One big family, isn't it? Sorry? You're one big family.
Stop! I'm not winning the game! I'm not winning the game! What are you now?
You're scum! You're fucking scum! You're scum!
You don't know what you're doing! Go home, please! Do something!
You're a fucking disgrace, are you not? These are law-abiding citizens, and look what you're doing to it. Look what you're doing to it. You're a fucking disgrace. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck on you.
Now seems to be in a kettle. Police are now in a kettle in Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner.
Fucking Nazi scum! Nazi scum! Nazi scum! Yellow is the new blue!
You see the stand-up ex-figurehead with based Welshmen on the front lines at Hyde Park, as they batter the police with water bottles.
Go
It's these people that Willsey made sure to interview last, and it's these people who seem to have a fully scripted set of solutions that complement their bread and circus they just performed. You just have to watch their propaganda channels.
I mean, I've not met him personally. I think he's a bit of an idiot myself, but I mean, go and check him out, guys. I'm only kidding.
Who else do we listen to?
Subject Access, is it Busker people, but yeah, just independent media.
Go to BitChute, brand new
That's it.
UK Column News.
Believe in their conspiracies.
Operation Lockstep,
Agenda 21, United Nations,
ID 21,
Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the great banksters, all these people.
Sign up to their charities.
And follow Stand Up X if you're concerned about what's occurring right now in the world and you're tired of the abolitions of your freedoms.
Join their protests on March the 20th.
Oh, and then the 20th of March, Central London. And that will be the biggest march so far.
And vote for their joke politicians.
And who are you going to be voting for the mayoral elections?
Here's Corbyn.
Here's Corbyn, David Curtin.
Yeah, David Curtin.
Here's Corbyn, David Curtin.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Freedom! There's loads of people left that love our freedom. We're gonna
fight for our
freedom. Stand up for it.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, guys. It's okay.
To finish, Willsey tries to get a few more interviews.
Oh, hi guys, sorry. I didn't realise you guys were there. Would you guys like to talk about what brought you down here? That's okay. You guys can be shy.
He's told to stop smiling at a vigil.
I've been told not to smile.
And while he interviews this geeky old anti-lockdown protester who's been showing up all evening, he's told by another bystander to keep on message. This isn't about lockdown, but a silent vigil for a murdered woman.
I gave him this plate. A person gave me this plate.
You don't?
Look, something's really tragic happened, and I think obviously it might have been related to lockdown, and you know it could have been the fact that he had a police badge, he could have closed down lockdown, but I'd rather, I don't know, I'm not saying your police are wrong or anything, I just feel like it's such a significant event, I'd rather just made it about what it is right now and not made it, I don't know, I'm not saying you're wrong on that, I'm not saying I just think it's so, I don't know, I just personally.
That's okay. That's okay, it's alright to have your take.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's completely fine. Oh, do have a nice day.
So there were plenty of people in the crowd awake to what was going on, but due to the amount of anti-lockdown infiltrators, there was literally nothing anyone, including the police, could do. Actual interview approaches the Stand Up X guys while Heiko's megaphone friend from the protest takes hold of the camera.
Hey mate, how you doing, man? Right? Remember me? Yeah, hold this for a bit. All my shit has died. I can't put it in my bag. Apart from that. You can talk to them.
What's happening, people? So yeah, vigil for Sarah. A lot of police presence. Wouldn't you moved?
That's right. Oh, it's my fault. Sorry, mate. There you go. Keep holding it. My bag.
Share.
Died down quite a lot, to be honest. Some police presence.
You know, pull that power cord. Yeah.
The guy on screen now is of interest, as he was appearing as a mute masked journalist on the bandstand most of the evening.
That way. Is that yours, babe?
Yeah.
Who's that receipt?
Yeah.
Bring me in.
So now I kind of want to make a bit of a move in a sec, because
You kind of want to what?
make a little bit of a move, yeah, because I've been
Yeah, I've been out all
bit
day.
targeted, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put this one on the phone and then to get me. I don't really want to see him again.
Is it finished? I've got one more in my bag.
Yeah, a lot of police presence today. Not that many arrests. Free speech, exactly what we should have, but they are silencing people that want to talk about their loved one. Like, that's sick.
So the police basically they took over that area. And then they arrested someone and everyone chased the police in the area. Were you there?
When he smashed the
mirror,
he smashed the mirror, they let him.
No, but then they got into formation and they ran. And then they ran away.
Oh, right. You mean just,
Did you jump in?
Yeah.
Right.
Took
Down there and that.
and the guy smashed the mirror, like proper smashed it up.
No, I was there, mate, but I don't know what's wrong with you.
They admit their involvement, and then the assumed journalist seems to notice the camera and walks off.
Oh, wow. Yeah, guys, so basically they put the girl or whoever in the van, and then they attacked everybody else. And then they ran. They got information and just ran away. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, sorry, my gimbal died.
Actual interview ends his stream upon the arrival of this dude, who I was initially almost convinced that he was returning triumphantly after being released from his arrest due to his matching leather jacket. However, Sean wasn't the arrested man, as he actually turned up in the footage here on the other side of the police line. So the final person arrested remains a mystery for now. However, the existence of Sean Finch should not go without note. Sean is a London Assembly candidate. He lost all his friends after telling them he'd joined a far-right party and is a co-conspirator with the Access Media gang.
Heartbreaking and spirit-crushing as well.
In this random live stream, he admits to going on a protest roadshow to Bristol and Manchester.
Anyway, guys, I was going to say, these guys went on like a road trip, a tour, a protest tour, and he never invited me. He never did.
I thought Subject Access had called him to say that we're picking him up, because when I picked Immortal up, they live very near to each other. I just assumed that I was picking.
No, but at the same time, I never asked.
Up next.
Sam was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go. You going?"
Yeah, you were close to.
I don't know. But I never.
It would have been funny.
You should have come anyway.
It would have been fun.
But when you called me, you guys were out.
You missed out.
We were literally like 5 minutes away. Going, come in. You're like 5 minutes notice.
Yeah.
But that's right, dude. But you should have been ready, mate. You should always be ready. You're the one telling me that you should always be ready, no matter what. Drop everything, and just go and do it.
Go to another city.
we basically, the funny thing is, we basically kidnapped Immortal because he had no idea we were staying in a hotel. Because like halfway up to like Bristol, we went. I went to him. You think the hotel will have parking? And then he went, what hotel? I said, the hotel we're staying in. And then he was like, oh, I didn't know we were staying at the hotel. So we kidnapped him for 2 days. Then we went to Manchester straight after, and then we stayed in another hotel. Immortal's basically been our our hostage for the last 2 days.
Basically, human trafficking.
We're done with them now, so we got the money.
I got
We got
freedom.
the money, so we're done with them now. So we're going to dispose of him soon.
I don't think it's a coincidence that we saw the same levels of violence at the anti-lockdown protests as we did the following days in Bristol. When the majority of the crowd are practically begging those stood up to sit down and join them in their non-violent protest. The obvious far-right infiltrators simply don't care for peace, and only care for incitement and even some casual racism.
Anyone? You can hit me if you want, but I don't want to hit you. This is St. Christopher. This is even. What? Are you man? Right, okay, you've got to do your job tonight. No, I'm not doing nothing. I'm just like. It's all these men that are doing everything. You got any Irish with the face? Any Irish people? We're the Jedi. Yeah, let's talk through this. You know, it's okay. Oh, they're going to do it again.
We are in a civil war at the moment, and the weapons of choice aren't guns, but they are shots taken through a camera lens. And with theatres shut down all over the country due to lockdown, it seems the psychopaths have taken their performance art to the streets. To conclude, it's interesting to note that the only people who've got the account of the night mostly right are the Byline Times in their report here, and I'm saddened to say I agree with the police in their report, and I'm entirely not surprised that Ralph was able to sum it up in a single sentence a day after the vigil.
Ralph, what's your view on Saturday? What did the police do it right? Did they do it wrong? Serious question.
It's a very difficult position because, first of all, if you look at the recent policing efforts, it's all been unusual policing because of COVID. You know, you watch all these guys, the regulars running around agitating in the protests, the lockdown protests. So, the police under stress, and
the public as well. The public as well.
Public's under stress as well. Everyone's been locked up for so long. So obviously, you put in a little cauldron like Clapham Common. You got a lot of people screaming, and then just one person has to make a mistake, and then everyone's going to blow it up from both sides, right? So, but the police do a very difficult job. So, God bless.
No, but did the police make a mistake? Do you think on Saturday? Could they have done it better? Do you think that they did it wrong? I mean,
it's hard to tell, isn't it? Because they're known agitators there, right? From everyone, from the Haikus, it's a small crew of people. They're wandering around. They were there before. They were in Fulham. Then every time they're there to agitate. So ultimately, agitators, if they're successful, result in an agitation. So then the police, you might get a bit of bad policing, but I'm sure the IPCC will handle anything that was out of.
No doubt, this was a mix between an organised infiltration and an emergent psychological operation in an attempt to radicalise a hyper-emotional and grief-stricken crowd with an increased anti-police sentiment.
I've always found it odd that the first thing we do when we see babies is to scare them. We play peekaboo, and babies somehow know that it's only playful, they don't really have to be scared. But then the same thing sort of happens when we're older. We go and see horror films, and we experience all the fear of the film, but at the same time we know that we're safe, because we're not going through the trauma someone else is. Now, it's a very thin line between that and real fear, so thinking about that, I thought I'd design an arcade game.
Judging by the headlines, I would not be surprised if these infiltrators have links to the tabloid papers. They seem to be taking the words straight from Steve's mouth here.
How many more? The crowd is chanting.
These past few weeks of gaslighting protest has been an attempt by the far right to discredit the sitting police commissioner, Cressida Dick. While we live under narcissistic rule, a resignation like this would be unbelievably terrible for the country. We would be instantly handing more power to Boris Johnson, as he could then install his preferred more hardline commissioner. I would not be surprised if propaganda expert Dominic Cummings had a hand in hiring an army of geeks and weirdos, or maybe he just needed to hire the puppet master. Ralph is the neo-reactionary organ grinder, and the far-right figureheads are his ivory keys.
All the different moments of the banter.
I thought you were here to let the British people decide what they wanted to do,
not
what you wanted them to do.
But
here's the thing. That's it, isn't it? You say you're a servant, but you just said it yourself. What we want them to do. It's all about you, Ralph, and what you want. It's not what
Hail Boris.
And when it's written in the NRX ideology to infiltrate everything that can be infiltrated, it's no surprise to hear this supposedly random woman accidentally let slip.
And she's a fucking woman, she's talking to me, and I'm like, do you know what position you're in, like? I believe in, like, penetrating, I believe in infiltrating things from the inside, I do. I think that there is power in that, I believe that. But they know what, she's a woman and she's chosen to try and infiltrate a fucking thing that cannot be infiltrated. It cannot be changed from the inside.
Yeah, you're right.
So angry, sorry.
It's alright.
So angry.
Did Patsy confide in this woman with her true intentions for the vigil? Infiltrate Sisters Uncut, maybe? If she failed in that attempt, she certainly succeeded in replacing the trusted grassroots movement with an airhead, much like the way our Nazi-inspired government used the photo opportunity that was Dyson instead of the established ventilator company ready to ship their already tried and tested products. Who knows? But what else would you spend the billions that you just plundered from the treasury, if not a distraction? A celebratory performance art for psychopaths, maybe? Events at the vigil had the Dark Enlightenment written all over it. So what can we do? We need to be alert to toxic people and organisations infiltrating our communities and grassroots movements. We need to be alert to those chaos manufacturers infiltrating our protests. The far right will attempt to use our fears and beliefs against us. We need to be malleable to deal with that threat. We need to start thinking about how the far right can take advantage of our actions. And if the answer is that they have the potential to take advantage, then that action would not be a wise one to fulfill. On a practical level, that means trying to peacefully protest in large numbers at night is probably going to be increasingly difficult from now on. If anyone sees any of these people filming in public, I recommend approaching them and try to make sure that their audience knows that their figureheads are culpable in the radicalisation of a silent vigil. Remind them of the lack of empathy it takes for someone to take away another's right to grieve. Anyone sympathising with the actions of those responsible for the radicalisation attempt needs therapy. They are the sick ones, and it's them that need the lobotomy. It should go without saying, established and official journalists should be having nothing to do with these idiots.
You know me, don't you?
Have you got my number?
Just for
What's your channel again?
roughly subject access.
Whether they be fellow walking CCTVs, or phone-in shows where they're able to add their own spin and drive the narrative.
Hi there. So I went to both the Vigil at Clapham Common last Saturday, and I've been on the protests all day today. And I think, Natasha, you are being very inconsistent because, being at the Vigil last Saturday, there were thousands of people gathered tightly around the bandstand on Clapham Common, and actually there was significantly less distancing there than there was on the march today.
Okay.
But,
Finally, we need to stop giving roles to the vacant-brained photo opportunity.
And I'm trying to talk to some higher-up people to see what's going on, try and change some things. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, like some of which I can't talk about, but I am trying to learn because I think before this I knew a bit about feminism, but I do want to be an intersectional feminist, and make sure that I am a voice for all women. Okay, at the moment.
Platform people on merit and research those that give you quotes. Don't sink to Tommy Robinson level journalism. And we need to remember, like the inverse to Peter Pan. If I try to put it simply, Nazism is the national triggering of our nation's narcissists. I even had one of my old XR activist housemates share a conspiracy about vaccines. When I joked, "Don't be a fascist," he doubled down with an article written by someone arrested for their part in the insurrection on the Capitol. It's simply that easy for someone to fall down the pipeline. And their political ideology is largely irrelevant. It's about a narcissist's need for structure and hierarchy. The Nazis weren't racist. Not all of them anyway. But what united them is their paranoid and conspiratorial mentality, which they projected outwards onto the world. Finally, the people that are best suited to deal with the far right are strong women. They have a special ability to remove toxicity swiftly and in numerous ways. Collectively with their voices as shown with Heiko's first non-violent removal from the bandstand, and then they're also able to remove those 3 times their size.
We will shout, we will fight, protest is a human right. We will shout, we will fight, protest is a human right. We will shout, we will fight, protest is a human right.
And no one can say shit in retaliation when they do. If only more women realise their power.